salute. Yeah, you're in tune to QSV. Musically, it's all about entertainment. Yeah. Subscribe. Yeah, and the real esprit. Salute from now till eternity. And let's hear the rep. One family.
Hey viewers, how you doing? This is another QSV feature. You know, QSV is the channel that gives you much more. We take you out of the box, we don't just give you the regular stuff. But today is a very interesting feature. A feature that I know a number of our viewers are going to find interesting. And it's a pity we're not live, so maybe people could call and ask some questions. But this is a feature that we're going to bring you a very influential person, somebody who, in terms of Northern Trelawny, you know, Queen of Spain Valley Entertainment Channel is basically representing Northern Trelawny. And as a result of that, we want to bring to you one of the most influential persons in Northern Trelawny today. And none other than our own Member of Parliament, Miss Tova Hamilton. Tova, how are you doing?
I am great. Gary, nice to see you.
Nice to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me.
It's been about a year now that we have been doing this channel.
Okay.
And it's good to know that we can have our MP sit down and talk. And we're in the nice view, nice venue today.
Comfortable venue.
Very comfortable.
Yes.
So we want our viewers to also feel comfortable. And I'm sure you're gonna find this feature very interesting.
Yes.
So before we get into the political side, I want our viewers to know Tova the person, Tova the individual. When they see you on the street or anywhere, they want to know that they can walk up to you and feel
well, you know, funny enough, I don't say Tova as the political person per se.
Okay.
Because for me, what you see is what you get. My personality is this.
Down to earth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Person is
yes.
approachable.
All the time.
Okay.
I mean, everybody has their good and bad days. But outside of that, I think I am approachable. Young, old, in between, come to me all the time.
Yes.
So it's just a matter of coming and saying hi. I may not always have the opportunity to see people in the street and say hello because I'm always doing something, busy doing something.
Right.
But I have no difficulty with people just approaching me and engaging in a conversation.
And people can attest to that.
Yes, I welcome it. But outside of that, though, Tova, history, and everybody knows I'm from Trelawny already.
So you're from Trelawny?
I am from Trelawny. Okay. I grew up in Martha Bray, Hague, and now Falmouth.
So those were your playgrounds?
Yes.
Growing up as a child?
Yes. And then another playground was William Nib because my mother taught there about 8 years in the 80s.
Okay.
So a lot of people would know me from
from William Nib days.
Yeah,
I know because Mummy was my library science teacher.
Look at that.
Yes, man. Miss Minto. Can't forget.
Everybody knows Miss Minto.
Yeah. Yes. So Trelawny is basically where you.
Yes. So Trelawny has my heart, and that's the only reason why I would have gone into representational politics. It's not because I wanted to become a politician.
Okay.
But because I wanted to represent Trelawny. If it was any other constituency, maybe I wouldn't do it.
Oh. So we're gonna get into that a bit shortly.
Yeah.
So as a youngster growing up, what would be some of the things you would find interesting? What were some of the things you did as a young girl?
Climb tree.
Oh, so you could be like a tomboy type of thing?
Yes.
Really? I don't think some person would look at you now.
I am. Okay. I still am.
Okay.
But you know, I have to do it with caution now.
Right.
You can't afford for anybody to capture you going up in a tree these days. Because social media causes a lot of problems. But I mean, those are the things I enjoyed. I loved reading. I would climb in a tree and read.
Okay.
Yes. I love going crab bush.
Would take you away from everything else.
Yeah.
That would be
kind of in my own world. Because I pretty much grew up by myself. As in, I have siblings, but my sister is like 8 years older than I am.
Okay.
So, you know, whenever...
So you're the youngest?
I'm the middle child.
Okay.
And they say middle children don't normally get attention. So,
the girls and boys?
2 girls, 1 boy. Okay. So my brother is the youngest of the 3. Right. Okay. But I did my crab hunting and
Yeah, you used to catch crab and all these
yes,
things.
yes.
Wow.
Regular Joe.
So PBSC, she's a regular person.
Yes,
She's not
very
somebody
regular.
you need to be scared of or be afraid to
But
approach.
how can you be scared? I'm 5'3". I cannot scare anybody.
You know, sometimes when it comes when person have the power, sometimes people think oh, this I can't approach this person,
Okay.
or they need to think twice. But you're here to represent,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things you're saying, that you're here to represent,
Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah.
So you grew up in those areas. What schools did you attend?
So I can start from Miss Gilchrist. I started
Gilchrist?
Miss Gilchrist as soon as I was potty trained. So maybe that 2 years old.
Okay.
I started school from then.
Mm-hmm.
I went on to Falmouth Infant.
Okay.
Yes. Went on to Falmouth All Age.
Oh, so
Yes,
that's a
just
general
a
circle,
stone's throw away.
right? Not far.
And then I did 1 year at William Nib.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I transferred to Westwood High School.
It was from William Nib
to Westwood.
Westwood. Okay.
After that, I did sixth form at Holy Childhood, went into Kingston.
Oh, so you're talking about some prestigious schools, some schools. Yeah. So these are schools that train not just
any
girls but
school you
ladies.
go to, you can excel.
Okay.
So it depends on your attitude and mindset.
Youngsters,
Yes.
listen carefully.
And then I went to the University of the West Indies.
Okay.
And then I went to Norman Manley Law School.
Wow.
And
So
I
it's
guess
been a
they said the
journey.
rest is history.
Okay. So,
I did a year at a school in Canada. What's it called? Don't remember now.
Okay.
You figure it out after.
So let's take them maybe one. Westwood.
Yeah.
What was it like at Westwood?
Well, a boarding institution at the time, it could have been a traumatic experience for some.
Okay. Okay. Who
Um,
was the principal back then?
Mrs. Logan.
Mrs. Logan.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mrs. Logan was my principal, and
Mhm.
I boarded. But
Okay.
I think I made use of the opportunity
Which is
of
good.
being at a boarding institution, because with that you really don't have that much distraction. And then we never had the World Wide Web as we had it now anyway.
Mhm. Right.
So we had pen pals. We literally wrote letters.
Oh, okay.
People don't do that anymore.
No. These youngsters do
no.
write letters.
But it's a good experience for me, because
So
I believe that
what would
I
be some of
was
the activities that you
able to. Well,
would have taken part in while at Westwood?
so I mean, you do the regular physical education, but I
Okay.
did I did arts in terms of the choir.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the choir. We did quite well at JCDC.
Okay.
Won a number of awards.
Tova the singer.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a part of it that I keep hidden. Yeah, I keep that hidden.
All right. I guess that's how the music thing.
Right, and that's why I have an affinity for music, because
Okay.
I came up from there. So there's really a reasoning sometimes, a rationale behind some of the decisions I make now,
Mm-hmm.
because of my background and where I'm coming from. But I've always loved the creative industries.
Okay.
And I believe that it is something that we really need to put a lot more focus and emphasis on.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. All right.
But being at Westwood, I think I learned to be independent, and I think that's very important and quite useful
Guess
when
with the
you get to
boarding,
certain stages of
you're
life.
on your own basically,
Yeah.
away
Yeah.
from home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to self-regulate, because I mean, you have to study, you have to do.
Right.
And nobody should be behind you,
No,
telling you
telling
that
you
you
all
need
these
to do this. You know. Yeah.
And then you transition from there now to the university, to Western Indies.
Right. I did sixth form at Holy Childhood.
Holy Childhood,
2 years.
and then
I was a prefect there as well.
okay.
And then I went into
So the
university.
responsibilities were coming from an early age.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say that.
And then we left Holy Childhood, we went to University of the West Indies.
Yes.
What campus was that?
Started at Mona and then went to Barbados, to Caveville,
Okayville.
because I studied law.
Oh.
Right.
So we're leaving from Tova the tomboy,
Yeah.
Tova the student,
Yes.
to now Tova the lawyer.
So they're all wrapped up in one.
Oh.
They're all wrapped up in one.
So
But
you
yes.
chose law based on?
I chose law because, so after my mom ended her teaching career by William Nib,
Okay.
she went into the Correctional Services Department. So she worked with the prisons and, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I have an uncle that's a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
And I have other uncles that are attorneys. So everybody kind of in the legal sector.
Yeah.
Right? And so naturally, growing up, I figured I would go somewhere into that area. Just wasn't sure where yet. But I think as time went on, I decided it was law because when I did my assessment, law is probably one of the only disciplines that spans all disciplines.
Okay.
Meaning, you can become an attorney and enter into any other discipline you choose. So it's almost like a backdoor into other areas, right? So you can be as creative as you want to be, and you can expand your horizons as greatly as you want to. And because I have an affinity for entertainment and music, I figured why not just use law to go into that section instead of me going out there singing.
Having best of both worlds.
Yeah. So it served a purpose.
So it's entertainment law.
So I do entertainment law, but I also do real estate conveyancing.
Okay.
Right.
So could you maybe give our views what comprises entertainment law?
So entertainment law is the wide sector that encompasses not just recording artists, but it can include the creative industries in general. So it is you representing your client within those industries to ensure that whatever their contracts that are either given to them or that you draft is in their best interest. But it also includes, the royalties and the
which a number
copyright.
of artists not so sure about how to collect
not
these
so
things.
sure.
Right,
Yes.
right.
So they need the advice
Of the lawyers.
Yes. So it's like any other area that you go into. You need to have background. You need to have knowledge of the areas that you want to do business in, because that's the only way you'll know how to make money. Exactly. Nobody wants to go in an area and not
making money, don't.
Right.
So who are some of the entertainers we have worked with over the years?
Over the years, I've worked with Beanie Man, Conscience, Spice, Voicemail.
Oh.
I've worked with Tommy Lee. I've worked with quite a number of them. Delos.
Yeah.
God rest his soul.
Yeah. Definitely.
I've worked with Chronics,
Oh.
and I've worked with not just recording artists, but producers.
Producers as well.
And I work with agents, and I work with managers. I mean, everybody.
So it's a wide cross section
of the
industry.
Right.
Okay.
And you get to learn the different areas just by working with these people. So you have a great, I guess, a comprehensive view of what the industry is.
And how long now have you been
practicing?
Yeah, basically.
Well, I've been an attorney now I'm gonna age myself.
I hear you.
Yeah, I've been an attorney this year, make 16 years.
16?
Yes.
Wow. So you're talking about a lot of experience.
In a lot of different sectors. Yes. I started out at the Attorney General's chambers.
Okay.
Yes. Defending the government in civil matters. And I did civil litigation while I was there.
Yeah. So those were good training grounds for you?
No, definitely. I would encourage anybody leaving law school to work with the government, because the level of exposure and experience that you get is matched to nowhere else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So our viewers, good counseling given out there by our MP. So Tova, being a lawyer, how did you transition from law to politics?
So the transition from law to politics is easy, and it's easy because as an attorney you advocate.
Okay.
That's just
and that's what you do for people.
And as a politician, yeah, that's really what you do. You advocate for people. So you appeal and you plead and you beseech and you do everything on behalf of the people that you represent.
So is it that you were in having a taste of the political field before representational politics?
So before entering representational politics, I was a member of G2K.
Okay.
And I joined the G2K in 2002. Through G2K, you gain a lot of exposure into the political world.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And so I would have had that knowledge.
That's like the young training grounds.
Yes. And I just kind of use that to transition as well, because I knew what I was getting myself into.
Right, right.
But going into politics, you have to be prepared. mentally, physically, emotionally.
Takes a lot.
It, it takes a whole lot. And so it is not a decision that can be had lightly. You have to really know that this is what you want to do. You have to do your due diligence.
Yeah.
Because it is an area where a lot of people say it's an ungrateful sport, because you will put your all out for people,
right?
But they won't necessarily readily see it that way. And it is a lot of work, especially like a constituency such as Trelawny Northern, that I would have inherited with pretty much nothing. You know, we have no roads, we have communities still without water or reliable water source, and we have communities without electricity, formal electricity. We have a number of issues here, but the road, the infrastructure is a big concern.
And we're going to get to that, because I know it's definitely one of the concerns of the constituents.
And after 30 years of neglect, you really need time to put these things in place.
So you have been in representation politics since
going
2020.
2 years now. Yeah. Going 3 years soon, September.
Is it something that you really wanted to do as a child growing up, or?
No, not as a child growing up. No, my focus was elsewhere. You know, my focus was entertainment, law,
right, good,
business.
Good. Right. So I guess some persons saw you as somebody who could do the job, who could represent the people of Northern Trelawny.
Yes, I would think so.
Okay.
When I was asked to run the seat, I would imagine that, you know.
Because based on my recollection, I think they wanted you even before 2020.
I was asked before.
Okay.
I was asked before. But as I say, you need to be prepared for it. And you can't just throw yourself in without having that knowledge. No, I didn't really have politics, representational politics at the forefront, I must say.
Okay.
But there are times that for some reason doors open, you know, and I think sometimes we have to just open the door. When you hear the knock, you open the door, because you may think that you are destined for a particular area or a particular thing,
right?
When it probably won't necessarily, it's not necessarily true.
All right, so since 2020, I've been the mother of Northern Trelawny, so to speak.
Mother, grandmother, sister, brother.
And I guess you would have
cousin,
met a number
aunt,
of persons,
uncle, yes,
during that time. What are some of the communities that makes up Northern Trelawny?
It's a whole lot. If I start now, we won't end.
So we have
it's a huge constituency.
From that end, we have like Clarkstone.
So we have, so if you're going to start from the
borders,
of St. Anne, you have Rio Bueno, you have Calabar, you have Braco, you have Duncan's.
Right.
Duncan's Hills consider themselves separate. Crawl consider themselves separate. Sharscott Prospect, you have Samuel Prospect, you have Spicy Hill, you have Clarkstone, you have Jacksontown, you have King Loss. Coming back, you have Dawnville, you have Piedmont, you have Sherwood.
Right.
Coming back down, because
I see you coming down the hill.
Yes, right. You're coming down the hill. You have Reserve. You're going to Perth Town. Going up Perth Town, you have Gravesend.
Right.
Right. Coming back down, you going to Martha Bray. Going around, you have Jonestown. You have Top Hill. You have Fontabelle. You have Peru.
And these are communities in five
divisions.
5 divisions.
Yeah.
Right. So the 5 divisions.
And I have not touched Martha Bray and Falmouth yet. So you have Martha Bray, Falmouth, Duncan's division, Sherwood division, and the Wakefield division. Right. Okay. And they're all represented also by councillors.
Definitely.
Right.
All right. So we have 5 divisions, and I think you have 3 of your councillors.
So 3 of those divisions are represented by Jamaica Labour Party councillors.
Okay. So over the 3 years, I guess we have had some challenges, but I'm sure you have done some work in the different areas. So I'm going to give you a chance to maybe give the viewers an idea of some of the stuff that you have touched on during the 3 years.
It's been a lot, because I think I hit the ground running, because I knew the challenge, right?
Because even with COVID coming in, because you took over during COVID.
Right, exactly. And that's the worst time to enter politics. Because if you remember, and that was just the other day, with COVID, all funding had to be cut to go
definitely.
into the COVID response. So the government pretty much shut down. And it was all about COVID. Everybody remember, we're inside, we couldn't do this.
Yeah, we know that.
Right?
We know that. Definitely.
And so it was really the worst time to enter politics for the first time.
Yeah.
Because, especially a constituency like Trelawny Northern that has been represented by one party for more than 30 years, you really want to come in and make a difference, right?
Definitely.
But when you come in and you say, boy, resources are constrained, you have to be creative.
So that's double challenge.
It's a double whammy. So you have to be creative. And what I did was just utilize my creativity to try and get things done.
Right.
So the first thing I did was just to address the low-hanging fruits. What is here that I can do now that is readily available?
Right.
And that is where I was able to do some road repairs from resources that I found in all sorts of places. I've always been a big believer in education, and so I do fund education quite a bit. It's the avenue, the means for people to elevate themselves.
Right, definitely.
Right,
I'm a strong advocate.
Nobody can take education away from you. It will always be yours.
Definitely.
And so I believe that an investment in education is always a good thing. So I do a lot of tuition support. I do a lot of, I normally do back to schools. Since COVID, I haven't been able to, but I'm gonna try and bring back the back to school this year.
Which is good.
I'm hoping for Friday.
This Friday?
I am hoping. I'm very ambitious. But I'm actually in the process of planning that now as we speak, because last night we had an event. You may be aware of it.
Right.
Yeah, so I spent the time planning that event. And it takes a lot out of you, I must say. It's not an easy feat. And the mere fact that I wanted a back-to-back events, it's a lot of pressure, but I am up to the task, and I'm going to do as best as I can to ensure I deliver.
Friday, August
11th.
The 11th.
Right. And by the Hague Agricultural Show.
By Hague.
Showground.
So
education.
Because I know you had the charity.
The inch by
inch, right?
Yes.
So this is true. This is coming through inch by inch.
So it's a combination, because in order to do back to school, you definitely need private sector support.
Definitely.
And so I'm trying to raise funds from the private sector, and I do that through inch by inch. To be able to supplement what I can do from the government side. Right. So the government won't be able to fund everything, unfortunately.
We know.
But you have to now go out and advocate for the people.
That's how because I was just gonna say you're the first female MP for Northern Trelawny.
Yes.
So I guess
Very
that's
first.
a bit more creativity coming in, because the women up there look creative.
Yeah, you have to find ways.
Find ways. They can always find ways to get some money somewhere.
To stretch a break.
Definitely. So I guess we can look forward to that on Friday, the back to school.
Yes.
So it's been roads.
Yeah, so the roads, I've done water. So I don't know if you remember Samuel Prospect and Middlemount, those communities have always been complaining about a lack of water. We have invested more than $200 million to solve their water problem already. They're very happy over there now. I must say. We're also going to phase 2 of that Doorknock project, that will see the replacement of pipelines going to Calabar. We're doing Braco soon. Braco has not had potable water since that highway has been built. So we have now to provide water to them, despite having that main running past them to St. Anne. So we're going to be tapping into that line now.
So Braco
that's exciting.
Can look forward
Rio Bueno will be getting the same treatment, because Rio Bueno has had a challenge with water as well. Bounty Hall has been having a challenge with water.
I was just going to mention Bounty Hall, because
it is a very tricky, very ticklish issue. I mean, you get a number of reasons why, but for me, and I must say to you that I've known about Bounty Hall's water challenge from I was a youngster. So this is
it's nothing new.
Nothing new, and I'm sure it was there before I was born. But I am aware that the people in Bounty Hall looking to me to solve the problem. Despite all of the history,
you might have the creative side to you.
Despite all of the history, and I think we have a solution that I think will solve that problem permanently. I won't say too much yet, because I don't want to say, put a timeline or anything, and then it doesn't happen within the timeline.
As I know you don't like making promises and all that.
But I do know that we're coming with a solution. We're just awaiting JPS now to approve the electrical work that was done to the area.
Okay. Yeah.
The pump will be put in place, and then that's it. Bounty Hall has water. I'm very happy about that.
That would be
because water
good.
is life and people need water.
Yes,
and we have other communities with water challenges. We have crawled Duncans have a water issue. It's regulated.
Yeah.
It gets it from the Clarkstone well.
Okay.
So we're trying to find solutions for that too. And there are a number, I think about 2 or 3 alternatives that we've identified that we'll be putting in place to try and solve that problem.
I know those residents will definitely reading a sigh of relief.
My hope is that I can solve a lot of the long-standing challenges that we've had over the years. And then, I'll be very happy because the constituency will be in a much better position.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, long-standing challenges, because even with the roads, I know you have done some work on the Wakefield to D side.
Yeah, we did Wakefield to D side.
That has been done, and it's lovely. But the thing is now, our residents going to Friendship and Bunkers Hill, they are now jealous. And that road there.
No, so the entire constituency is jealous. Okay, because as you can imagine, all 5 divisions have road challenges.
Issues, yes, right? Definitely.
So what I tried to do to prevent the jealousy is, if you realize, I tried to go in a division and do something in a community.
Yeah. Definitely.
And then I go somewhere else and do something in another community. Because I think we have to be fair. Everybody is having a challenge.
Need some,
moving around. So as best as I can, try to spread the resources. For what we call the Falmouth to Springvale Road, the road with the greatest notoriety that we have in the constituency. That's the road everybody love to demonstrate on.
Yes, definitely.
Right?
So viewers, please listen.
They love to demonstrate on that road.
Yeah.
But I keep saying to people all the time, whenever I get the opportunity, when I got in and I asked, how much is it to fix that road in its entirety? Because it's nice to, want to be ambitious and to fix everything one time. And I was given a price tag of $790 million. Now, coming out of a COVID, they're going to laugh at you. Where are you going to get that money from? Right. We don't have that money to give you to fix one road.
One road, right.
So what I had to do is advocate and ask whether or not it could be done in stages.
Okay.
So if I do it in phases and cut it up, I mean, it is easier to digest. So when I looked at the road at that time, the D-side road was the worst section, Wakefield to D-side.
Yeah.
We can remember that. It took us all 20 minutes
to get
from Wakefield to get to D-side. And I said, all right, that was bad. So let me start there and then I'll come down the line. So $200 million was allocated to that road.
Okay.
The contractor bid is an open tender, right? So your contractors have to bid. And because it is that amount of money, it has to go through a process.
Definitely.
You don't just pick a contractor and then you start working. No, because we have procurement guidelines that we have to follow within government. And if we don't, then we're in problems.
Right.
And so it has to go through a process where the PPC has to approve it, cabinet has to approve it, insurance has to come in, because something as big as that, a contractor has to put insurance on it. And then the work can start. But the procurement process at the beginning also requires NWA putting out a tender and contractors bidding. And then, there's a time period within which you have to wait so that anybody else who has a difficulty can lay claim to it. And so that is why, even though I told people it is coming, they probably thought it wasn't, because there is a period that you have to go through.
Right.
Procurement. But no, the road is there. I'm hoping that I would have engendered some kind of trust in the people, because at least it was done.
Yeah, man.
So I'm true to my word.
I know those persons are very appreciative of that.
And what I indicated to others was I would now, after that, tackle another phase. Right. And this is where we are. So, but before the Marthabury to Bounty Hall leg, if you realize, I've done a section in Marthabury because we had to do some engineering works because of how that road was shaped. So we disaggregated that road. We cut it out and said, all right, we're going to do some work here first.
All right.
And it also would help the students going to William Navan. Right. And so that one was also done. Good. So I'm hoping that additional trust now has been generated.
Hopefully.
And then what we're going to do now is Marthabury to Bounty Hall, which another $200 million was allocated to. It went through that whole bidding process. A contractor has been identified.
Good.
So it is now going through the approval phases where PPC has to approve it. The last time I checked, it was there, so I'm hoping that it can be approved and then sent to cabinet, and then we do the execution. So that is also coming, and when that comes, I'll be happier than the persons who use the road every day, because at least I'll get some reprieve and can go to somewhere else.
I know, definitely. I can tell you honestly. Yeah. The persons from Wakefield to Bunkers.
I know they've been
and Wakefield.
They've been struggling for a number of years.
To Falmouth, they've been really.
And then the Wakefield to Friendship Road, we're also going to be doing some work on that. I have to do that in phases as well, because I got, I think, $100 million to do that entire roadway. Nobody's going to give me that right now, especially because I made that commitment to the Falmouth to Springvale Road, right? So we have to know how to balance. And so I have to cut that road up into phases. And the first phase, the first phase is going to be done very shortly. And when I say shortly, I mean shortly, because the contract has already been signed by the contractor.
That's good.
And that really just leaves for implementation. So in another maybe 2 weeks or so, you may see me up there with NWA doing our site visit, touring to see what will be done on the road. And then the contractor can start.
I'm sure my residents up there
they will be happy. Because I think right now, Friendship may be the worst road we have.
Yeah, man, definitely. I can tell you there are some creators in that road.
Yeah. I know. I go up there. I have family up there.
So I know they really want to see some work being done on that road.
And we'll also be bringing some work from the Clarkstone to Kinloss Road as well.
Which is good.
And we can, possibly you'll see us doing both roads at once, because they're both close to implementation.
Okay. Right. So it's not that you've been left alone, people. The work has been done.
I'm always advocating. I mean, they call me a terrorist in Upso.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you lick about your talent.
You have to fight. You have to fight. Nothing is going to come to you,
And then as a first-time MP
exactly.
Again,
people probably think that, because she's MP, you can't just get money to the roads. No, it doesn't work like that. We have 62 other constituencies that we have to compete against.
Okay.
To get resources. And you have to advocate. You have to be annoying.
I know.
So I don't necessarily come before the people and complain, because they don't want to hear that. They just want solutions.
They didn't elect you to come to complain.
So I have to solve the problem.
Definitely.
Yeah, the best way I can.
All right, so we can look out for those road
And issues. I must also say that we just completed Zion.
Yeah,
phase 1 of Zion
Road.
I'm going to do phase 2 in December.
Falmouth Gardens as well.
I did Falmouth Gardens phase 1. I'm going to be doing that in phase 2 in December as well.
Okay.
And there's also another road in Falmouth that I made a commitment to the residents. I've been having challenges when it rains.
Okay.
That I'm going to be doing some work to solve that problem for them. So December, I'm going to be doing some additional work. We've done work in reserve.
Okay.
I've done 2 phases of road work in reserve now.
Oh.
To try to alleviate that problem. So what I want to do with reserve is to just lead into Sherwood. Right? So that entire roadway would be roadworthy.
Because I know the roads were really in deplorable conditions.
Yeah.
I don't.
No maintenance.
And I really, definitely, they weren't being maintained. And then sometimes they're being fixed, but they're not putting in like proper drainage system.
Yeah.
So.
And the Duncan to Clarkstone road suffers from that.
Okay.
Because that road got some work done maybe about 10 years ago or so, or less, maybe. And because there's no drainage on the road, it just eats right back very quickly. Definitely. And so the submission that we've made for that road includes drainage, which is why I have to do it in 2 phases, because the drains will take up a lot of the resources.
Okay.
Yeah, initially. So that has also been submitted. We've also submitted for works to be done along the Daniel Town Road, right? Because that road is also going bad too.
So you can see that she's covering the constituency.
Yeah, I'm trying.
She's around. Just that some of these things just don't happen overnight.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. And I did some work in Duanville.
Okay.
Along the Duanville main road at one point too.
All
yeah,
right.
so we're getting stuff done.
I really want to see Trelawny roads.
So for me, and to be honest with you, in 2023, I really shouldn't be here doing infrastructure work. I should be here building on something to create a local economy that is booming.
Definitely.
But unfortunately, it is hard to attract investment in a constituency that has no infrastructure. So it's like you have to risk and wide. Yeah. So I have persons out there that I'm trying to entice to come into the space. But they'll say to me, boy, Tova, the road's bad.
Yeah.
And it's going to cause a problem on the business.
Definitely.
But we have persons out there that just ready and raring to go to pump millions of dollars of investment here.
In terms of job creation and stuff
Right.
like that.
And so that is why I have to ensure that the roads are done. So
No.
it's not that I have no interest in getting road work done. I do have an interest in getting road work done because I do want investment
Right,
to come into the space for the benefit of the people.
Right, definitely.
Right.
Definitely.
Right.
All right, so you mentioned the roads, and we've spoken about the roads in length.
Yeah.
Housing.
Yeah.
Let's touch on housing. Because I know you have been influential in persons getting some homes, especially persons who are elderly or disabled and stuff. How is that going in Northern Trelawny?
So I recall before I became MP that I undertook a project to build a house for somebody. It was very ambitious undertaking. But it was so dear to my heart that I had to just find some resources and do something.
Okay.
And I can tell you that single-handedly, I think that project is probably one of the dearest. Because, but I do believe that people must, a home is a man's castle.
Definitely.
So I've done some work. I do a lot of grants for housing.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the resources for housing is not as much as we would want it to be, because you get maybe like $250,000 a quarter to assist with housing, and it's really for emergency purposes. So if somebody has a leaky roof, we can help them out. If somebody want a window or a door there or something, that's really what it is for.
Okay.
But there are times I try to be creative, where I try to do a little bit more with it, so there's a meaningful project.
Okay.
You can tangibly see. But I do have plans. I've identified lands already that I believe can accommodate housing developments.
Okay. That's good.
And so it is one of the greatest focuses right now, because that I think would go a very long way, because when it comes to real estate, a lot of people are not able to afford housing or land, because our real estate market is very high. I'm in that area of law,
so you will have an idea.
so I know that it's very expensive. But I'm trying to find a sustainable, affordable housing solution for people, and so we're actually exploring that
low
now.
Income.
Yeah, and I am doing a little pilot, or I'm going to be engaged in a little pilot.
Okay.
To see whether or not a particular solution can work. So I'm personally undertaking something first.
To see how that goes.
To see how that goes. And then if it works, I can just roll it out into the constituency. Yes. Okay. But I'm not going to say what it is yet.
All right.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned like persons could contact you in terms of if they're having a leaky roof or whatever. Where would they do? Contact the office?
You can call the office number 876-219-8720. Okay. That is 876-219-8720. Or you can always email the office at trelawnynnorthernmp@gmail.com.
So when you have your little issues at home and you want to get some help.
There's a gentleman in my office called Javon. You can always terrorize him.
Okay.
I give you leeway to do that.
No problem. Javon, it's coming. Because like sometimes persons, they want to start up a little business. They want to.
Yeah, we do on-trap grants too. And or if I don't have it, I can find some other way to assist.
Okay.
With entrepreneurial grants.
But they would call the office.
Yeah, man, just
as it
call the
relates
office.
To that. Yeah, so persons can look out to that. All right, so we have touched on education, we have touched on roads, we have touched on housing, we have touched on.
And education, we've done millions of dollars worth of support, in education. Millions of dollars worth of support. I've gone maybe more than $40 million now.
Okay.
Yeah. Because the tuition takes up a lot. So we do a lot. Yeah. So tertiary.
Tertiary, okay.
When you give grants to tertiary students, it really takes a lot out of because
and I know it's expensive.
You have to you have to give a meaningful contribution to that. And when it comes on to the tertiary, we want people to be able to access that.
Sure.
And so I will always put out my best efforts to ensure, because I got a good education.
Right, so you want persons to get that as well. the person can contact the office as it relates to the tertiary grants as well.
Yeah, man. And Javon will tell you all that you need to apply for that.
Okay. The person hear what's happening.
Yeah.
Okay. So in terms of new projects coming in the constituency, do we have any new projects?
We always have things happening.
Okay.
And that is what keeps me going. So if you realize I'm always busy doing something, it's because I think idle hands, never find work for idle hands. So I rather keep myself occupied. So I mean, I spoke about the project I did last night. I'm very excited about that project because I literally pulled that project together with almost nothing. Right? But I was able to get it done. And why I did it too is because, over the years we've had the Emancipendence celebrations being done in Kingston, and you hardly see anything great coming to Trelawny. Yeah, and we kind of felt, I felt left out. I personally felt
to get a piece of it.
So I believe that we had to get a piece of the pie too. So I said, all right, let me try a thing. I tried my hand at something. Granted, though, I've always loved doing that.
Okay.
I like to put on a stage show. I like to put on events. So that's another part of me that people probably don't know. When I was studying in Barbados, people thought I was there working. They didn't know I was studying because I was very integral in crop over, cadument. I was the only Jamaican on a cadument band in Barbados.
Really?
Yes, planning events, designing costumes, doing all of those things. And so that's why I have that affinity for entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. People love it too. People like to have an avenue to just release tension. And I think that's the best way. Music does that.
So I guess we can look out for some more of those projects, some music, some entertainment across Northern Trelawny.
Yeah, you can. You can.
So in terms of healthcare, any?
Yes, well, healthcare now. There are persons who come to us for assistance for prescription glasses.
Okay.
Or if you have a surgery coming up, or if you have medical tests to do, we can help with that.
Okay.
But outside of that, I'll be doing a medical fair. I want to do a medical fair when I'm doing the back to school treat. That's the plan. Because the Minister of Health would have mentioned the Know Your Numbers campaign, where we're trying to get people to know your numbers, literally with the NCDs, because that's what's killing us now. Lifestyle diseases. We're eating ourselves to death.
Right.
So we have to try to get persons to be cognizant of what they put in their mouth, how they treat their bodies.
Right.
You need to exercise. Even if it's walking, it is very important.
Definitely.
And so I want to do a medical fair come next week. And there's also a plan to do some rehab work by the Bounty Hall Health Center. I want to do some work there. And I'm advocating for some work to be done over by the D-Side Health Center. But I'm advocating to overseas companies now, to an overseas company, to see how best they can assist us. I'm hoping that we get through with that as well.
Okay.
Because if we have these clinics up and running, then you don't have that strain on Falmouth.
On the Falmouth Hospital, right. Yeah. All right, so health centers will be good. All right, so that covers the health section.
Yes.
Trelawny is not really somewhere where it's of a high crime rate.
And I'm happy for that. I'm happy for that, and I'm hoping that we maintain that. But I'm also aware that we do have migrants
coming into the space.
So we have to also pay attention to people coming into our communities that we don't know. Right? We have to be very cognizant of strangers.
Definitely.
And what they're likely to do. There are a couple communities now that I think are having a little challenge here and there. But I think that we can try to resolve that from a security perspective. So I've gotten some complaints. But Trelawny, I would never want Trelawny to become a bad space.
No, definitely not.
I grew up being able
family
to
parish type of thing where everybody knows the next door neighbor.
Exactly. So we want to maintain that. And the civility, because I think we're becoming a little bit more violent as a people. Everybody just anxious and angry at every little thing.
Trelawny, let's get back to basics. We have to love each other a bit more, don't?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So Tova, I remember I think some months ago there was a conversation between
last year.
Yes. In terms of the Wakefield post office. Where's that now?
So the Wakefield Post Office, I reached out to Postal Corp, and I was able to get a commitment for them to provide us with a solution to that problem. So what we'll be using a container, retrofitting a container. What we're actually in the process of doing now is obtaining a no objection letter, permission to utilize the parish council's property where the old market was.
Okay.
So there's a section of that property. I think there was an office building there.
Right. Yeah,
that we will have to demolish and fit the container.
That's that building at the front of the market.
So we're waiting for the parish council to go through its approval, its processes. Remember I told you about government?
That's a bureaucracy again.
Right.
You know?
So
yeah.
I mean, I call ever so often to get updates on it. The last I checked, they had asked for the drawings from the design from Postal Corp for the container.
Okay.
And I was assured that it would have been submitted within a week or so to the parish council. That was maybe about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And so we just have to sit and wait for the parish council to tell us whether or not we can use it. So that's where we are. But the Postal Corp is ready. As long as we get that permission, then they'll go ahead.
So you're just waiting on the permission from the parish council?
Permission from the parish council.
All right, hopefully we could get that done. Because I know, especially the elders.
No, I know, because I mean, I have people in Bunkersville. I mean, you have persons who have all sorts of challenges.
Yeah.
Can't walk.
Yeah.
And so it is difficult for them to go all the way to
Bounty Hall.
Right.
Yeah.
So we need to solve that problem. And we also need to utilize our post offices in a modern way with the technology. So that container will have a little something to it.
Okay. So it wouldn't just be a post office alone?
No. We don't have, it makes no sense for us to build just a post office these days.
Okay.
It has to be multifunctional.
So Wakefield, residents of Wakefield and Bunkersville and Friendship, they can really look forward to getting that pretty shortly.
As soon as we get the approval from the parish council.
All right, so
let me.
She's on top of it, people.
Yes.
She's on top of it. All right, so by the next 2 weeks, we might get some information. Hopefully.
All
right.
Hopefully.
All right, people. Yeah. So it's good to have you here. We're really appreciative of the fact that you can give us the time to
anytime
sit down and have a chat.
I know we were supposed to have it before, but because
I know you're busy and all that. So as a first-time MP though, what are some of the challenges that you've?
Oh God, a lot of challenges. Nothing is easy.
Yeah.
I mean, every project that I do is almost a fight. The struggle is you go to war.
Other persons want the funds as well.
You go to war, literally.
Yeah.
It's not just about the funding though, but the bureaucracy of government gets to you.
So you would need to see some of these things change.
We would love it.
Definitely.
We would love it, but you see things become almost institutionalized, certain kind of behavior within government. But I'd love to see us cut down the bureaucracy and for us to be a little bit more efficient.
Yes, definitely.
I know the Prime Minister has been advocating for efficiency. I am right behind there with him because within the private sector, sometimes it's easier to get things done. You can make a decision and you act on it. In government, it doesn't work that way.
Okay.
You make a decision. First of all, it takes a whole continuum to make a decision. And then after you make that decision, it takes a long while again to execute.
Yeah.
And there are times you will hear an announcement, oh, we're doing this project. And immediately somebody will come and say, MP, I hear that so and so. You don't get the funding or anything, because it takes a while. But people don't realize that. And so it creates expectations for the people on the ground because they don't understand the system.
Good. And this is one of the reasons why we want to have the sit down and talk, because sometimes
I am willing to do numerous talks like this, to go through processes.
Right.
Because I would love for people to learn and understand how government works. A lot of people don't know. And it is causing a problem.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, so viewers, we're just trying to highlight some of the challenges that our MP has, but we know that she's hardworking, and we know that she's not going to give up on us, So
I don't give up that easily.
No, I know. So we are definitely going to be keeping tabs and keeping you updated on some of these things that...
Maybe when I start the road over by Wakefield, I can invite you to come and...
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah. Come and date some footage.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So as we say, it was one of our informative interviews.
Yes.
I'm sure a lot of information was sent out a while ago.
And there's still more. Yes.
Definitely. So maybe we'll have to maybe have another sit down with the MP where we can get some more information out there. But I'm sure our viewers have appreciated the fact that you took time out to come and have a chat with us, and we wish you the best. Is there anything you want to say before?
I think probably the greatest appeal I would make is just to be patient with me.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of just got here. So
it's just 3 years.
And it is unusual for somebody just coming into the politics to be able to learn everything as quickly as, you know, as probably I would have.
As you're learning as you go, right?
But the beauty of me being in politics now is that I came through the government system. So I have a great appreciation of how things work, which is why I'm able to hit the ground running.
Right.
Other MPs probably wouldn't have had that opportunity.
Right.
And so I am happy that I got that as almost like a building block to getting to where I want to be. But just be a little patient. I am definitely coming to your community. I know all the issues out there. I know every single community and what the issue you have. And so I will always advocate for these issues to be resolved.
Definitely.
Within time, you'll see me in your community if you have not seen me already.
And I'm sure they have seen you. I guess they just want to maybe see a bit.
I know, they would love to see me every day.
All right, so people, this is Miss Hamilton, on Queen of Spain Valley channel, giving you as much information for today as we could possibly accommodate. The time is against us, but I'm sure you're going to see her another time.
Most
all right,
definitely.
so Queen of Spain Valley people, take care of yourself, and I'm sure there are a lot of things coming your way. Tova Hamilton.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye, everybody.
Bless up, Trelawny.